A few days' time saw Tom Walker seated behind his desk in a counting house in Boston. His door was soon thronged by customers. The needy and adventurous, the gambling speculator, the dreaming land jobber, hurried to Tom Walker. Thus, Tom was the universal friend to the needy. That is to say, he always exacted good pay and security. He accumulated bonds and mortgages, gradually squeezed his customers closer and closer, and sent them at length, dry as a sponge, from his door. He built himself a vast house out of ostentation, but left the greater part of it unfinished and unfurnished, out of parsimony. He even set up a carriage, though he nearly starved the horses which drew it. And as the ungreased wheels groaned and screeched on the axle trees, you would have thought you heard the souls of the poor debtors he was squeezing. As Tom waxed old, however, he grew thoughtful. Having secured the good things of this world, he began to feel anxious about those of the next. He thought with regret of the bargain he had made with his black friend, and set his wits to work to cheat him out of the conditions. He became, therefore, all of a sudden, a violent churchgoer. He prayed loudly and strenuously, as if heaven were to be taken by force of lungs. Still, in spite of all this, Tom had a lurking dread that the devil would have his due. That he might not be taken unawares, he always carried a small Bible in his coat pocket. He had also a great folio Bible on his counting house desk, and would frequently be found reading it when people called on business. One hot summer afternoon, just as a terrible black thundergust was coming up, Tom sat in his counting house. He was on the point of foreclosing a mortgage, by which he would complete the ruin of an unlucky land speculator. The poor land jobber begged him to grant a few months' indulgence.
My family will be ruined.
Charity begins at home. I must take care of myself in these hard times.
You have made so much money out of me.
Tom lost his patience and his piety.
The devil take me if I have made a farthing.
Just then, there were 3 loud knocks at the street door. He stepped out to see who was there. A black man was holding a black horse, which neighed and stamped with impatience.
"Tom, you're come for,"
said the black fellow gruffly. Tom shrank back, but too late. He had left his little Bible in his coat pocket, and his big Bible on the desk buried under the mortgage. Never was sinner taken more unawares. The black man whisked him like a child into the saddle, gave the horse the lash, and away he galloped, with Tom on his back, in the midst of the thunderstorm. Away went Tom Walker, dashing down the streets, his white cap bobbing up and down, his morning gown fluttering in the wind, and his steed striking fire out of the pavement at every bound. The good people of Boston shook their heads and shrugged their shoulders. Trustees were appointed to take charge of Tom's effects. There was nothing, however, to administer upon. On searching his coffers, all his bonds and mortgages were reduced to cinders. In place of gold and silver, his iron chest was filled with chips and shavings. 2 skeletons lay in his stable instead of his half-starved horses, and the very next day his great house took fire and was burned to the ground. The neighboring swamp and old Indian fort are often haunted in stormy nights by a figure on horseback, in morning gown and white cap, which is doubtless the troubled spirit of the usurer.